Fine, I'll do it myself.
Hello, friends, and good tidings. Welcome to Fine, I'll Do It Myself, a Marvel Cinematic Universe tier list podcast. We are tackling Doctor Strange. I'm here with my brother Jason. Hello, Jason.
Hi.
And I'm pretty excited because we're coming up on Multiverse of Madness. Our original plan was to watch this movie and WandaVision before. We're not going to get WandaVision done before Multiverse of Madness. I'm just going to be real with you guys.
Yeah, no way.
But I think actually what that will provide is an interesting look back at WandaVision after Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
and also I think WandaVision's definitely a lot more fresh in my head than
Doctor
Strange. It's been a while.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely way more fresh than Doctor Strange.
Definitely needed to watch Doctor Strange. That is for sure. So, that being said, here's the trailer for Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange, you think you know how the world works? What if I told you the reality you know is one of many?
This doesn't make any sense.
Not everything does. Not everything has to. Through the mystic arts, we harness energy and shape reality. We travel great distances in an instant.
How do I get from here to there?
How did you become a doctor?
Study and practice, years of it.
There's a strength to him.
But is he ready? Be careful which path you travel down, Strange. Stronger men than you have lost their way. I am death. In pain. You'll die protecting this world.
I can't do this.
There is no other way.
I've spent so many years peering through time, looking for you.
What's this, my mantra?
It's the Wi-Fi password. We're not savages.
Wow, what a trailer, Jason. Don't you think?
Dude, I definitely saw that trailer.
You definitely watched this one. And before we super get into it, I guess we should probably look at what we said last time. Dream music stuff. Up next is Doctor Strange.
I really like Doctor Strange.
So this is going to be a disagreement between us because I
Yeah.
actually really don't like Doctor Strange.
I really like Doctor Strange.
I just think
I like how he's a fucking asshole at the beginning.
I do like
and
that.
then he gets his shit fucked. And then he becomes like a fucking like a homeless man.
Yep.
And he's just like a shattered human being.
That's the thing. Okay, this is what I'll say. I like the first half of the movie better than the second half of the movie.
I can agree with that.
I like that he has his downfall. I like that he starts to be a better person. I just think he's super ineffective as a superhero. Like everything he does, he kind of just stumbles into. Like, and this even like happens later on, in like when he's in Spider-Man, and I think it's gonna happen in Multiverse of Madness. He just kind of stumbles into like winning.
I can see that.
And then he acts like he's this super smart badass guy, but like he kind of wings it. Like when in Spider-Man, this is a spoiler for Spider-Man. If you haven't seen it, I don't know what the fuck you're doing listening to this podcast, but when we find out that Wong is actually the Sorcerer Supreme, I was like, hell yeah, dude. Someone who knows how to get shit done. You know? Yeah, let him be the fucking sidekick. You know? Like,
and he's like wearing a fucking hoodie. I don't know. I think in this, you make a good point because it happens even in later movies, like it shows up. But I would say that he would get a pass in this movie because
he's new to
it.
Fair.
And that's the idea when she's supposed to say, like, oh, he's supposed to be the best of us. Like, he's going to be the Sorcerer Supreme.
Right.
Like, it makes sense in that way.
I don't know. I feel like the ancient one doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about either. Where do you want to put this one?
I would say, like, I'm
gonna say it ain't an 8. It ain't an 8.
No. I'm debating whether I put it either behind Thor or above Iron Man 2. So either bottom of B or top of C.
We'll put it here because you like it more than I do. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I really like it. Also, I'm not super in love with the villain. But like, I feel like if you were to have some crazy ass villain in the first Doctor Strange, it would kind of.
Well, they kind of. This is part of my problem with it. Is I feel like they kind of ruined Dormammu out of the get go.
Yeah.
Which I get it. Dormammu's like, okay, they went with what you said about Ultron, where they nerfed him.
Yeah.
They made Dormammu the most powerful version of Dormammu, and then just got rid of him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was like, oh, that's kind of late.
We really just cut back to go away again, dude.
Yeah, dude, we're like Family Guy. We basically, what my complaint, and what I've realized, and I was saying this to you before we started recording, but my complaint was really about Doctor Strange, the character, and how he's treated after this movie. So I think we unjustly ranked this movie based on me, because I still
we definitely fucked up.
We ranked it the bottom of B. And I think after watching this movie more recently, I think that's underrated, don't you?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like we fucked up, guys. I'm sorry, we fucked up.
We'll get to that at the end.
Up.
We'll get to that at the end. Before the stats, let's go over the stats. So the tomato meter, 89%.
Yeah,
and the audience
that
rating,
tracks.
86.
Yeah,
pretty
that
impressive. I guess I don't know why I'm,
especially with something as not mainstream as Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
you
it's
know
a little
what I mean?
out there
For like the average.
It's a little out there. It was directed by a man named Scott Derrickson, who's known for horror movies. Strictly, basically horror movies. Most popularly, and then like The Exorcism of Emily Rose. Movies like that.
Okay.
And then he did Doctor Strange, which it's interesting because they got Sam Raimi to do Doctor Strange 2, and before Spider-Man, he was primarily known as like a horror movie director.
So the whole thing of everybody saying, "Yo, because Sam Raimi's doing horror films, this movie's gonna be crazy."
I mean, it should have.
You could say there's the same narrative,
Yeah. Well,
right?
the thing is, like, there are some horror elements to Doctor Strange, and to, you know, I'm assuming. I mean, there's some horror elements to the original Spider-Man that Sam Raimi directed, right? You know, the Green Goblin does some fucked up shit. You know,
It's true.
just there. This movie made worldwide made $677 million. Its
Damn.
opening was $85 million, and it had a budget of $165 million. So, over time, they definitely made that money back, as most Marvel movies do.
Oh yeah. They print money.
Yeah, before we get into our categories, what did you really think this movie on a second watch, Jason? Or not second, but
Second
most
watch?
recent watch.
I mean, I think it might actually be second watch. I don't know if I've seen it since. Maybe it's my third watch. That's probably more likely. Just because I've been disrespecting it, dude. I've been sleeping
on Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I really liked it. I felt like the pacing of it was really good. Somehow I feel like a really long time passed, but not in a way where a lot of times I feel like whenever there's a time jump and it's like shoved in your face that it's a time jump, it makes me really disconnect from it. Whereas with this, there's like multiple times where it seems like there's a decent amount of time happens from when he gets hurt to him finally finding where to go, as well as being at the, what the fuck is the place called, dude? It's like some College of Winterhold shit, dude.
Kajmatar, is that what it's called? Taj Mahal.
That's one. Dude, fucking. That's the one thing in this movie is like. Minus Wong, I don't know anybody's fucking name in this. I don't know the fucking bad guy's name. I know Dormammu, but I don't remember the bad guy's name. Like, it's one of those things where it's just like the names aren't very memorable.
Mordo?
IMO.
The ancient one?
I don't know, dude. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just because I was a little distracted. I don't even know. I felt like I was mainly watching it. I mean, like just sitting down watching it. But I don't know. It's just one of those things where I'm not. Maybe it's just my own familiarity with the lore of Doctor Strange, but I don't know.
I really enjoyed this. I think it's my second watch too, actually. I don't think I watched this after seeing it in theaters again.
I think I maybe watched it once after theaters.
It's a lot better than I remember it, especially considering we ranked it the bottom of B for our tier list. But I think it's a very good movie. I think my qualms with his accent aside, Benedict Cumberbatch does a very good job of because it'd be very easy with this character to just go, well, this is Iron Man, but a surgeon, right? And he doesn't do that. He does something. He's still like a cocky asshole, but he gets meaner than Iron Man ever does, right? And he's supremely unlikable. Where like you could argue that, Tony Stark isn't always the best dude, but he's always likable.
Yeah, he's definitely more charismatic.
Right, where
naturally.
Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange, he's not a likable person at least once he's injured. Maybe in the beginning you're like, okay, this guy's full of himself, but he backs it up, whatever. When he becomes injured, he's just an asshole. And I remember the scene early on when he has that one. He's in a Zoom call with that one physician, and he's like, "Yeah, I can't do anything for you, dude. I'm sorry. I have a reputation. I'm not gonna try to do all this experimental shit on your hands." And he hangs up on him. And Christine, played by Rachel McAdams, comes in, and she's trying to like support him, even though they clearly aren't. They were romantically involved, and then they weren't. Like they don't really explain what their history is other than that they were romantically involved. Now they're not, but then maybe they are again after he hurt himself.
Yeah.
But
then he's just an a-hole to him.
Right. Well, she says something like there's more to life than just, helping people in that way. And he goes, like what? Like you? Or there's other ways to give your life meaning. And he goes,
you can find meaning in life.
He goes, like what? Like you? And I remember in the theaters, Tara and I went and saw this, and I started laughing because it's so fucking mean. And she was mad at me.
Because it just makes you uncomfortable.
Right. Tara was mad at me for laughing because I was like, holy shit, he just dunked her, dude. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But
I feel like he was. I think it's pre-Smog, but I felt like he was channeling Smog, dude, because he voices Smog.
Yeah, I forget he voices Smog. He does so much, man. Can't even say the word penguin.
Yeah.
Penguin. But anyway, I guess we should probably just dive into the categories. What's the best or your favorite scene in this movie, Jason? Do you have any nominations for that?
Dude, my favorite is like a very simple scene, but it's when he is in the library and it's just like it's his training arc scene.
He has a good training arc.
He's you could tell he's trying to do the like sling ring stuff, but he's not really getting it, but he's not really letting it affect him, but he's still just, he's working at the books and stuff, and then he finally can figure out the sling ring thing, and then now he's like reading like every book, and like he's like doing it in his sleep and stuff. Like he found out how to rest while also being able to like read a book. Like that's freaking badass. I don't know. I think it's really cool, and also just makes it really believable that he's getting smarter and stronger, right, and like all this type of stuff. It's not just he got really determined and now he's stronger.
And it's implied, very heavily in the beginning of the movie, at least, that he is like an incredible surgeon, right? Like, yeah, like implied that he's like the best surgeon in the world, or at least up there, right? And you don't get to be that way without having an insane work ethic and an insane drive to make yourself better, right? And so it's cool that you get to see that from him in those scenes where he's trying to learn everything about these mystic arts that he's being taught, and at a what seems to be a crazy faster rate than what a normal student there.
Yeah. And then when he steals the books from Wong,
and Wong's listening to
scene.
Beyonce.
That's my favorite.
In the scene before, he asks him if he knows Beyonce.
Yeah, so he's like, I gotta check out Beyonce.
I think Wong knew who Beyonce was the whole time.
I think too.
Wong would not know Beyonce.
He's like, yo, I gotta listen to Beyonce again, dude.
I think the fight scene in the Sanctorum, the New York Sanctorum with Caecilius and Doctor Strange is fun. I really like that scene. Although I'm gonna call this out now, and I'm not sure if Mads Mikkelsen knows what movie he's in. You get what I mean by that? Like I'm not sure he knows what's going on, and I don't know a ton about Mads Mikkelsen as an actor.
I mean, he just does a lot of crazy shit.
Right. He does a lot of movies. I know that, and I know people like him. But like,
he's like the main antagonist or whatever in like Death Stranding, and that's some real
right.
Weird
he does
shit.
Weird shit, but I don't know. I have a trivia fact that says he admitted that with all the computer-generated imagery, he got a bit lost on how to film his scenes, especially during the mirror dimension scenes. There's one part in that scene when they're in the Sanctorum, and he just hops to the ceiling, right? Which is like, oh, cool effect, right? It didn't really make a lot of sense, but he just hops to the ceiling, and the way he runs, like, I don't even know how old he is, but he comes off as very old to me.
He like swings his arms a lot.
Yeah, he does a
right?
lot of weird and I think there's something about he was doing a bunch of his stunts too, and that's cool. I don't know. It made him seem goofy to me, as like this guy that's supposed to be this like vibe, badass villain, and then he I
don't know. He's even necessarily supposed to be that badass. He just looks badass, right? But like the actual Caecilius character, he's just supposed to be like pissed off that like his family died and shit, and then like now he just wants to make it so like
right. He's Doctor Strange gone bad, right? He's the similar kind of student that came in and learned it, and then said, "Wait a minute, this is fucked up," right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know that I love his performance, and we'll get into it more with good villain, bad villain. But I just think like I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of that, and that to me that's the weak point in the movie is him. But I like that scene with the fighting, and they do the thing where they have the different like Monsters Inc. ass doors, Yeah. And he traps them in different like biomes, He like outsmarts them, not
overpowers
because they are
him or
just
whatever.
they're
right?
absolutely goons, right? Those two, I
Yeah.
think. Hold on, I have the IMDb pulled up. I think their characters are, oh yeah, zealot. So they'll say, okay, there's tall zealot, blonde zealot, brunette zealot. Those are the names of their characters, and it's like,
Damn.
yikes. So they're definitely goons to the max, and he
Absolute
makes them
goons.
look like goons, and I like that scene for it. And then I like the we get the whole, oh, the cloak of levitation chose you kind of thing. I always think that kind of shit's cool, and like it's the Aladdin magic carpet trope almost, like this inanimate object that
it really
has
is,
like a character and a personality but doesn't speak, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I really enjoy that. I think anytime they go to the mirror dimension, that's cool. Those are good scenes.
Yep.
Especially the one where she kind of opens his mind.
Yeah, where he's just like going through like space and time, and he's having a crazy acid
Well, and
trip.
it's like
yeah.
you can tell some of it's based on his subconscious, because like there's the whole thing where like he's so worried about his hands all the time, and then all the hands come up and start grabbing him, and it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that scene is definitely really raw. Like it gets really creepy.
Well, and that's where that horror directing comes in. I feel like, you know what I mean? Like it's like, whoa, what is this? That scene's really good.
If you just change the score of it a little bit more, it would be really fucking weird.
Yeah, definitely.
Just have like the Batman like violin noise where it's like
yeah, just getting louder and more
like
more scary.
It would be very, very scary.
Which I want to say,
especially when he goes into his own eyeball, that part fucking got me, dude. You know I don't like eyeballs,
dude. That part's wild.
You know I do not like eyeballs.
I wondered how you did during that one. It's funny you bring up the Batman soundtrack, because you know who did the music for this movie?
Oh, is
the
the same
boy,
guy?
Michael Giacchino, dude. Shout out to all my Giacchino bros out there. Dude's a legend, man. I feel like every time I'm like, oh, this soundtrack's cool, I look and it's fucking Michael Giacchino, dude.
You just go with it.
Okay. His Known For doesn't have any of these Marvel movies in it. This is how good he is. His Known For is Up, Ratatouille, Star Trek, Rogue One.
Damn. That's crazy, bro.
He's done so many things, dude. He's nuts. Just crazy. We'll do a Michael Giacchino podcast at some point. Wait. Why is Kingdom Hearts 3 listed in his credits? What? Oh,
Hey,
probably because Ratatouille.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, dude. I let me look at his composer credits. Here we go. Thor: Love and Thunder, the Buzz Lightyear movie, Jurassic World Dominion, The Batman, Spider-Man: No Way Home, An American Pickle.
What?
The one where Seth Rogen gets turned into a pickle. Don't worry about it. Spider-Man: Far From Home.
Is this some Rick and Morty shit?
Incredibles 2, Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, Coco, Spider-Man: Homecoming, Rogue One, Doctor Strange, Zootopia, the first Jurassic World, Inside Out, Tomorrowland, Jupiter Ascending, Ratatouille. This guy's nuts, dude. Mission Impossible, Ghost Protocol. I could go on and on forever, but Michael Giacchino, shout out to him, dude. He's a legend.
Oh, no, dude. It sounds like you were kind of done.
Cloverfield,
okay.
Speed Racer, Jurassic Park, The Ride.
Oh, my God.
Lost, the show Lost.
Yo.
Muppets Wizard of Oz. Call of Duty Finest Hour.
Mike, we have to fucking talk about
Dude, you
Doctor
challenged
Strange
me.
now.
Gargoyles, the video game. You challenged me, dude. This is your fault.
Okay, Gargoyles, who Omega World, dude?
That was the last one on the list. Sorry. Anyway.
Okay, now he's out of it,
Anyway,
guys.
Michael Giacchino, a legend. Shit, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, the best scenes of the movie. And then obviously, I really like the climax of the movie. He uses the time stone. I'm sorry, the Eye of Agamotto, to reverse time, and like watching all that destruction go backwards is really fucking cool.
Yeah.
that's a really cool effect. And then he goes and he challenges Dormammu or bargain. He's come to bargain, which that's a really cool scene too. And then one scene I forgot as we're going through it is the scene where the Ancient One's dying, and they both
that was a really good scene
astral
too.
project,
Yeah.
and they're like watching the lightning crash and like the slowest possible speed you could, and
Yeah.
and she kind of just says, "Hey, I don't know what's gonna happen after this, but I knew this was coming," and that scene's really cool. It's the only scene where I really like the Ancient One.
Yeah, to be honest, they're not very likable.
She's not very likable. And I don't know why that is to me.
Well, I mean, she's like fucking drawing like dark power and shit, and then like you can tell she's just very like untrusting and stuff, and
yeah, that's true, but also
that it's like the vibe you get is that she's just very untrusting.
I also think in that same regard, Mordo is being kind of a punk bitch about it.
Yeah, he definitely
he's
is.
Definitely just immediately like, what? Like that's like where his line is drawn. And I think that makes him an interesting villain in the future, maybe.
Yo, spoiler!
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, he's definitely in the next movie, which that's one of my problems with this movie is how long it's fucking taken to have any kind of like we've seen Doctor Strange 3 or 4 times now, and none of it's been a continuation of this plot.
Yeah.
It's a little strange. Ha ha ha. Anyway, what?
It's definitely stagnated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one of those is the best scene, dude?
It's probably the scene with the Ancient One.
I agree. I just think it's so stylish.
It's really
and cool.
really good.
And it just the way that lightning striking and the snow is falling down, and yeah, it's just really cool. I just kind of want to live in that scene,
Yeah, I mean, like that scene is definitely underrated, and because like I see a bunch of different really really good Marvel scenes and stuff on like my Instagram and stuff like that, where it's just like some of the like most iconic scenes, and I feel like I never see that one.
Yeah.
It's pretty underrated.
Agreed. Let me throw some IMDb trivia at you. I already said the thing about Mads Mikkelsen saying he felt lost filming the movie, which to me it shows. The scene where the cloak of levitation wipes away Strange's tears was improvised on set by Cumberbatch, and that he's pitched it to the crew, and they said, "No, that's cool, we'll do that." So like when he's crying in the hospital,
Oh,
like he
yeah.
like hugs Rachel and he says, he's probably not coming here. He has to go away. And then he like looks in the mirror and he's crying and the cape wipes his tears away and he's like, "Stop that."
Yeah. Yeah.
This next IMDb fact I picked out because I think it's stupid. Scott Derrickson, the director, admitted that the MCU films dedicate little time to developing antagonists. So he just hoped to show Caecilius' point of view, describing the character as a villain of ideas with watertight logic, like John Doe from the movie Seven.
What?
I don't think they spent any more time on Caecilius than they had any other Marvel villain up to this point. Do you?
Isn't that the point that he's making? Is that like, hey, I just want to, because Marvel never spends any time on villains, I'm just going to make it like really black and white for him, and then
yeah, I guess, but I just feel like he didn't. I don't even feel like they did a great job of that. I just think it's like we know what his motivation is, but like I don't know, if they wanted him to have more depth, they could have been like, oh, this is a flashback to his family dying or something. You know what I mean? Like they could have done something more if they really wanted that. But to say, oh, we're just kind of resigned ourselves to having bad villains or underdeveloped villains, I don't think that's the move. Do you?
That you could fix that, like whether or not it's a flashback scene or, a lot of times it'll be like, oh, he falls under Dormammu's spell or whatever, and then he realizes what's happening and like tries to fight back or whatever. Or there's a bunch of different ways that you can add some depth to the character, in something that's not like really time consuming either.
Yeah. I just think they could have done a better job with it.
Especially if because they make a point that it's like he has like followers or whatever, but it's like you don't really you don't even understand why he has followers, right?
No,
like they
like,
don't
why
they
do
don't
they-
talk about it. And then like a lot of times when there's these type of like tropes or whatever where it's a really gifted student gone wrong or whatever, like if they're like having a following, if they're not just like Kylo Renning the shit and like killing everybody like straight up, like you would at least have it where it's like, okay, like join me type shit, right? Which is what he did, but then you don't see him do it at all later, right? Like
Right.
he doesn't ask any of the, you don't, or at least you don't see at all the one sanctum, right? Because the London sanctum blows up or whatever, and then he gets knocked into the New York one, and then apparently the New York one just has one fucking guy in it. Why does the New York sanctum have one fucking guy in it?
We can talk about this in the nitpick section because I really don't understand their plan. But we can talk about that in a minute because it's ridiculous. Yeah. Well, let's move on. I have one more fact for you. Just before he crashes, Doctor Strange is told about a 22-year-old woman with schizophrenia with an electric implant in her brain struck by lightning. This is a reference to the superhero Madeline Joyce, also known as Miss America, who received superpowers when an experimental electrical device her uncle was testing was struck by lightning. In the comics, Miss America is now known as America Chavez, who inherits the original Miss America's powers. America Chavez is in the new Doctor Strange movie. She's like his sidekick. She's the girl they've shown with the like American flag on her back, on her jacket.
Huh. That's cool.
So I don't know if they're going to say, oh, this is the girl he was supposed to work on or whatever, but it's probably just like a fun callback to the comics, you know?
Yeah.
But I think that's really cool.
That'll be interesting.
Let's do worst scene, Jason. What's the worst scene in this movie? There's not a ton of stinkers.
Not really, no. The only part where I was kind of like, okay, like I'm kind of over this scene is when he's in he's fighting that last goon in the ER or whatever. I feel like that one drags a little.
I think that one it's necessary because they want to, introduce Christine back into his life. And they want to show like the astral projection stuff, right?
Yeah, and
but
then they do a clever
was
thing
way
with
too long.
It was a bit long.
It's way too long. I agree. That's what I would have said too. And it's not a bad scene. It's just way too long.
Yeah, it's just that there's not really a lot of bad scenes at all.
No, there's not.
I can't really think of anything other than that.
Let's talk about Caecilius. Let's get that out of the way. Is he a good villain or a bad villain, Jason?
I would say like bad villain.
I agree.
But not the worst. Like,
well, no.
He just fits the role of, hey, I'm a bad guy and I'm doing bad things. But, like, yeah, he doesn't really have depth to him at all, which I don't really ever super care about. I don't think that there's not really ever anything where it, like, pulled me out of it, right? Like, the only time where I was ever like, okay, this doesn't make any sense was the fucking scene with the cape for the first time where he goes to kill Strange and then the cape blocks, right? Just like, okay, like the idea is that he knows what all these artifacts are, right? So like, wouldn't he know that what that cape does?
Yeah, but maybe he didn't expect the cape to,
choose him or something. But then it happens like 3 fucking times. Like he doesn't.
Yeah.
That was the only time where I was like, okay, this is kind of pulling me out of it. But that's not really like the villain. That's more just like the directing of that scene. But yeah, I don't know.
I just think he suffers from like a long line of like typical Marvel villains where it's like we're going to see a worse version of this when we watch Thor 2, but just like guy who wants to do bad things and they tell us why, they don't show us why. And that's it, right?
Yeah.
Just guy who wants to do bad things. And that works to a certain extent cuz it's tough. You're trying to build your hero up, right? And you can't build necessarily 2 brand new characters every movie, right? So you kind of need like that fodder villain character, but that doesn't mean that I have to say he's good. You know what I mean? Like he's still a bad villain at that point, but it works for the movie, I'd say.
Yeah, I don't know. I think having 2 like characters that you build up is totally reasonable. I don't know.
Well, I'm not saying it's for what they accomplish in these movies. I'm not saying it's unreasonable. I'm just saying I get why they do it the way they do it.
Yeah.
Because especially if it's like, hey, this guy ain't gonna be around in another movie.
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily, but yeah.
Well, I read this thing about the Ancient One is typically in the comics a Asian male, right? And they cast Tilda Swinton because they wanted the Asian representation in the movie to be Wong, and they knew Wong was going to continue on, and so they wanted to have a strong woman there, and because they knew she was going to die, so it didn't it didn't matter that they changed like the race and gender of the character.
Yeah, no, that didn't bother me at all.
No, me neither.
I think she did a fine job. The problem I have with the character is just like she's just not likable at all.
No. And I think that's on purpose because it's like you're supposed to they want you questioning the morality of it all, right? They want you going, "Oh, she's pulling out power from the dark realm. Can she actually be trusted?" right? They want it to be a moral dilemma for the viewer, like is this okay or not?
Yeah.
You know? And if she's too likable, then they go, "Oh, well, she can do whatever she wants." You know?
Also, my inner child is like, that's the fucking witch, dude. From Narnia,
yeah, that's
dude.
true.
That's the fucking witch, dude.
That's true.
I can't trust her, dude. It's like when Willem Dafoe was in Aquaman. You know, I can't trust him.
Yeah, that's true.
Even though he's a good guy the whole time.
That's true. I can't trust him as a good guy. No way. The Stan Lee scene. Is it a good Stan Lee scene?
Wait, what? I don't remember his cameo.
That means it wasn't good. I don't remember it either. I know it happens, but I don't remember it.
What is the Stan Lee scene? Oh,
that's right. They're fighting they're in the mirror dimension. They're being Mordo and Strange are being chased by Caecilius and his goons. And he inceptions the area and they fall onto a bus and Stan Lee's in there reading a book and he's like, oh, doing the Stan Lee thing.
I don't remember that shit at all.
Yeah. It's literally a very short cameo.
You're telling me it,
fine.
and I can't even remember it.
I know. That means it's not a very good Stan Lee cameo. It's not very memorable. That's for sure. Rest in peace, Stan. But this was not one of your good ones. So let's go nitpicks now. Let's talk about some. This is something I wanted to start talking about more in these movies, even though, like, obviously they're I would make this disclaimer. These are obviously superhero movies that are drenched in fantasy and things that would never happen. But I like to look at, like, logically, like, why did this character do this thing, right? And something you brought up earlier was the Sanctum Sanctorums, the three of them. There's one person guarding these.
Right.
They put one, like, master sorcerer in them, and that's it. And not just that, because, like, hey, if there's not like a bunch of crazy shit going on, right? Then that's probably fine. But there's this man out there that has power similar to yours, and he has a bunch of, like, lackeys,
right?
And you're not having extra security out there.
The Sorcerer Supreme is fucking griefing, bro.
Right. And then the one that guarding New York dies, and she goes, "Well, I guess it's Doctor Strange now. Yeah. I guess he's in charge. This guy that doesn't know anything, he doesn't even know how to use the artifacts in there. So he's just, whatever. He's in charge."
Yeah.
And then okay.
Well, and with the idea, or like with the knowledge that, like, she knows that he's supposed to be the next Sorcerer Supreme. Is it in Endgame where she reveals that she knows?
When Hulk
she's like
goes
saying,
to her, she
like,
goes, he was supposed to be the best of us.
She's like, oh yeah, Strange is the one whose idea this was, and then, like, yeah. So with that extra bit, which comes way later,
yeah, for sure,
it's better. But in the bubble of the movie, it's bad.
Right. Well, it's just bad that they only have one guy with a staff guarding these fucking...
Yeah, I mean, like, making him master of the thing, yeah. But...
And also, maybe I missed this. Maybe when I was watching it, so Caecilius' plan is to blow up all three of those because they're the only thing stopping Dormammu from coming in, right?
Yeah.
So they blow up London. We don't even see that one.
No,
right?
you just see like into the.
You just see it coming through
into
the
room.
portal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they go to New York. Strange stops them. They come back. They go into the mirror dimension. The Ancient One dies or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they never did they go back and blow up the New York one and we didn't notice? Because it's still there later. But then we just cut to Hong Kong and they're blowing up the Hong Kong one and that allows Dormammu to come in. But the New York Sanctum is still there.
Yeah, that's definitely weird.
That doesn't make any sense, right?
Unless there was like a caveat that it was like a certain amount of them.
I don't know. I thought it was supposed to be all three.
Well,
maybe
also
it was
there's like
two or three.
Also, there's like the main place. Wouldn't the main place also be?
You'd think so. Carmitage. You think Carmitage would be part of it?
Yeah.
So it doesn't really make a ton of sense.
Yeah.
Again, we're just nitpicking here. But another one I had is the watch that he wears. So he puts on this very specific watch because it's from Rachel when he gets in the car accident. And then that watch is scuffed. Right?
Yeah, it gets broken, by those dudes.
But it wasn't broken from the car accident.
Yeah,
the car accident that destroyed his hands, and they purposely in the car accident, which is another really good scene, by the way.
I guess the idea
that
could be that she got it fixed or something. I don't know.
I guess that's true. I guess she could get
she
that
would
fixed,
do.
but not his hands. Yeah, that's true. She would. You're right. Maybe there's something. Maybe they allude to that and I missed it. But I remember seeing the watch getting broken, and he's like staring at it like, my watch, and it's like, wouldn't that have broken the car accident? But anyway. Do you have any other nitpicks you wanna talk about with this movie?
I mean, we already touched on it with like Mordo like being really, really mad about the dark energy thing. I wish they would have touched on that a little bit more as well.
I do like when he goes, the bill always comes due.
Yeah.
I like that. I actually like using that. That's in. We can talk about memes if you want. That's one of my favorite.
I've
gifs
seen you
to
do
use.
that recently. Yeah.
I like to throw that in the Discord at people when it makes sense. I really like that as a meme. The bill always comes due. But no, you're right. I feel like he's a man of his principles, right?
Yeah.
But like,
and he's badass for sure.
He is, but to me, how far he goes with it is completely unrelatable.
Yeah.
But I think that's part of the point, right? Is it's like they were trying to, I think originally they were going to build him up as this bad guy. I'm based on what I've seen of the trailers of Multiverse of Madness, I'm not so sure that's the case anymore.
It kind of seems like Wanda's going to be a bad guy.
Right. It seems like he's going to be something else, which we don't want to talk about spoilers or anything, but and we also have some post-credit nonsense to talk about with that guy. So, the other big meme is the Dormammu I've come to bargain. When this movie came out, there were a lot of Dormammu I've come to bargain memes.
Yeah, I remember that, but I honestly don't really remember much of them. You know what I mean?
Right. I don't remember what the meme content is. I don't even remember the
context of it. Yeah, like what was...
I know people did them. Hold on, I'm gonna look some up now. Okay, here's one. Dormammu, I've come to bargain, and it's the Pawn Stars guy. Best I can do is $5.
Oh, the Pawn Star dude. Yeah.
Yeah. Not a great meme.
Also a dated reference.
Yes. Well, I mean, when this movie came out.
Yeah.
Here's one. Top 3 Doctor Strange quotes, and it's just Dormammu, I've come to bargain, the same thing over and over. Wow. These are bad. Dormammu, I've come to bargain. One does not simply make a bargain.
Oh my god, that's so fucking bad.
Oh, that's terrible. I've not found one good meme. I've not found one good Dormammu I've come to bargain meme. Have you?
Dude, fuck no. These are fucking trash.
Okay, here's one. It's like a
saying
dude's
the same ones
mugshot.
over and over.
A dude's mugshot, and it says, "Man trades baby for 15 Big Macs" is the headline. Dormammu, I've come to bargain. Just a picture of Yoda, and it says, "Dormammu, come to bargain? I have." Like, that's not even a meme.
Oh my God.
All right, so I take it back. That wasn't a good meme from the movie.
These are all, like, it was memed, but the memes people have made were fucking...
They're like Stitch Boomer memes.
Dormammu, I've come to bargain, and then it's the fucking dude just crying. Like...
Oh my God. What's the biggest pop-off? What's the moment of this movie that made you go, yo?
Probably when she hits him out of his astral body or whatever. That's probably the scene where I'm like, yo, this is tight.
That scene's probably the most hype. For me, it's at the end. I don't even remember what the joke is that Doctor Strange says, but Wong laughs.
Oh, when Wong finally laughs.
Like, yo, he finally laughed, fuckers! And then Mordo has to ruin the moment by being like, the bill always comes due. It's like, relax, bro. Wong just laughed.
Yeah.
I do also like when they're reversing time, and that makes Kaecilius get trapped in the wall. I don't know if I'd like yo for that, but I think it's cool.
Wait, in what part?
There's a part where they're in Hong Kong and he's reversing time, and like they are fighting while things, and he gets like fucking walled into the wall. I was like, yo, that shit's hype.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like that's the main thing holding this back, is that there isn't really like besides I can't really think of any like super big pop off moments.
Yeah, it's a good movie, but it's definitely like a B movie, right? Like, I think a lot of the origin story movies kind of like, they don't do the coolest shit, because you don't want to do the coolest shit in the first movie, right?
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons I'm really excited for Multiverse of Madness, because I think they're really going to do some wild, crazy, cool shit, right?
Yeah, well, there's definitely like the power creep of the universe, right?
Right.
And then like Scarlet Witch has got to do some crazy shit too. So
oh, she's about to. She's about to.
Yeah, so I'm really excited for the new one.
Yeah, me too.
That's another part why I really enjoyed this too, because I'm just like, oh, dude, like there's going to be more of this, but like even better, because obviously like Marvel has just gotten like better at their formula over time.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I don't know if it's going to be Spider-Man levels of wild, but I think it's going to be pretty wild.
Yeah. Well, I'm not getting my hopes up for like X-Men or anything crazy, even though it's like we know about like
spoilers,
like Patrick Stewart or whatever or something. I don't know, but
or something.
I don't know. He doesn't even know who Doctor Strange is, so who knows? But
right. So who's the MVP of this movie? It's got to be Benedict, right? It's got to be Doctor Strange.
Yeah, there really isn't anybody else even in contention. Yeah.
Wong isn't
like,
fully Wong yet.
Yeah, I love Wong, but yeah, he's not.
He's not the Wong we know and love today.
Yeah, he's not just like shitting on Strange. He's more quiet in this movie.
Right. I mean, I'd say all he does is shit on Strange.
Yeah.
Like, they don't have the friendship yet, so it's not as funny when he does, though.
Right, yeah. Definitely.
But he's good in the movie, but yeah, it's got to be Benedict. It's got to be Mr. Cumberbatch.
Yeah, he does really well. Yeah. The character development of it is really good.
Oh, Marvel Easter egg. The only one I can think of right now off the top of my head is that one I did with the trivia where they talk about the girl with the electronic thing, and he's like, "Oh, that's promising."
Yeah.
Do they even reference anything else ever?
I mean, like, there's the post-credit scene, but that's just like straight up just Thor. You know what I mean?
It's literally a scene from Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous in hindsight. But there, Avengers Towers in the skyline.
Yep.
When they show the city skyline, they don't really. This is kind of just its own standalone thing. They don't really. I think Mordo mentions the Avengers or something at one point. How they protect this world.
Yep.
But other than that,
they do mention the Avengers.
I don't think they even reference anybody else, which I don't think that would happen anymore.
No, there definitely would
Like
be.
Literally everything, whether it's a new property they're exploring or whatever, they always reference something else, like at least a couple times.
Well, and like in Endgame, when Hulk goes back, he's looking for Doctor Strange so that he can get the Eye of Agamotto, but he's not even. He's still a regular doctor, right?
Right.
So like, he would know about like the invasion of New York and like the Chitauri and shit, but like. Yeah, they don't reference it besides saying, well, while the Avengers defend, like, they don't talk about it.
Well, if this movie happened now, there would be, like, some, like, scene talking about how he, like, saved a bunch of people that were hurt from the Chitauri attacks or some shit.
Right.
Because
he was still operating during the invasion.
Yeah, he did it without tools, and he saved this little kid, and here's the little kid now, grown up, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they're so, and I get it. It makes sense to reference this stuff. Like it's it's honestly not off-putting, but it's honestly surprising that they didn't do it more in this movie at that point. But
well, especially because like they're supposed to be really like all-knowing, you know, and they do a better job of like Doctor Strange like knowing all of the like. When he like abducts Thor and Loki or whatever, right? Like they do a better job of it.
And like even something like Shang-Chi, which you know it has Wong in it, you know, and they have the scene with the fighting club or whatever that references some different stuff. But that's like on a like this is in New York. Doctor Strange is in New York.
Yeah.
Where all this shit happened.
They're like blocks away from Avengers Tower, yeah.
God, I feel like we're having this conversation about it, and I feel like the guy on YouTube who made the video about turning red and was mad they didn't reference 9/11, which is not all the same thing, but that's how I just had this realization. That's how I sound. Anyway, Doctor Strange. You have anything else you want to say that we didn't touch on, dude?
I'm just excited. I like the CGI in it. I think it's pretty well done. I never was like, yo, this is scuffed. Yeah, it looked really good, especially the like when he's tripping.
And I'm pretty sure the scars and stuff on his hands were CGI.
Yeah, those looked good then.
Which that looked really good because I'm on IMDb to look at a lot of this stuff, and there's goofs, and there's one scene where he just doesn't have the scars because they forgot or something. And so to me, that says they were CGI.
Yeah, that's not something that you would really forget in like as far as a wardrobe.
Like a makeup sense, yeah.
Because that would just literally be in the list of things you do when you're putting the gray on the side of his hair and you're making sure he has the right beard for that day and all the stuff. That would definitely be part of it.
Oh, I have one more nitpick that I was going to say earlier and I forgot. So Caecilius steals the 2 pages of the book in order to summon Dormammu. And Doctor Strange, being there like however long he's there, goes, oh, I'll use the Eye of Agamotto to bring the pages back. No one thought to do that.
Well, it doesn't like get the pages away from him. It just makes it so the pages are there.
So
again.
They have the fucking pages so they know what he stole if they didn't know. You know what I mean?
Well, she knows.
I guess she knows, but no one else does.
Yeah. I don't think
Wong
them knowing
know.
like changes anything though.
I guess. You might be right.
I thought that scene was really cool too. I do like that scene.
Yeah, with the apple.
Yeah, they like show the apple and they do it and that looks pretty good. And then he's like, yo, let me use it on the book. And then it fucking works.
I'd also argue, Jason, that this movie has 2 bad villains.
Oh, like Dormammu?
Dormammu, I feel like Dormammu, and maybe he comes back in this next movie or whatever, but I feel like that was wasted.
Yeah, he definitely got bodied. But I don't really care about Dormammu, so I don't really care.
Dude, as a Marvel vs. Capcom 3 man, I care about Dormammu. And the way I think he looks cool the way they did him, and I really like the time loop concept because it's the only way he was gonna win at that point.
Well, because this version of Dormammu seems really OP.
Yeah, I mean, and he typically is, but typically, I mean, and I could be wrong. I'm sure some comic nerd in the comments will tell me I am, but I feel like he typically has like a a vessel that he like will possess to be on Earth, even if he can't conquer it, to like try and scheme ways to conquer it, right?
Yeah.
Like the sanctum keeps him out, but he can like send a vessel with a small fraction of his power, kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think that's how they keep him, because he's always like cosmically powerful, but that's how they keep him like in the same range as Strange, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, but and I they did something different with it, and I think that's cool. And but I don't think he's kind of a Final Fantasy villain in that way, like in the old school Final Fantasies, where this like cosmic being would just show up at the end, and thematically they fit, but you didn't meet him till this final boss fight, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
It's kind of like that. But anyway, I that's all I got to say about this movie. It's a good ass movie. Do you got anything else to add before we rate it?
Yeah, no, I definitely enjoyed the movie more than I remember.
Me too.
Yeah, good pacing, good characters. The funny parts were still pretty funny. And there wasn't like a ton of it either. Yeah, it was just cool.
There wasn't a scene where Caecilius and Doctor Strange realizes their mothers had the same name, so they stopped fighting. So as long as it doesn't have that, dude, it's a great movie in my book. I think it's still a B movie.
Yeah.
But I think when we rank some of the movies we ranked above it, we'll probably put Doctor Strange above them.
Yeah, so it,
Like
it
Thor,
doesn't
the
really
first
look
Thor,
like it's changed on the new.
Yeah,
on the
it
new
will look
one,
the
but-
same, but that's because not very many movies are in there. But yeah, like if I were to rank Thor, I mean, and I haven't watched Thor in a while, but if I were to rank Thor, I think I would rank Doctor Strange above it. I think I'd rank it above Ant-Man, which is another movie we put above it. So we'll see. That's the whole fun of this tier list, is it's still coming together, and it will be really funny if we get back to it and it's exactly the same. But add in the new movies.
Because it's been a while since we watched Doctor Strange again.
Yeah,
it's just
yeah,
it's just
we get
always
to
recency
Thor.
bias. It's just always recency bias.
Maybe we need to start watching these movies faster.
Spoilers, guys. Spoilers. It's
So-
always recency bias.
It's always recency bias. So the next movie we are going to be tier listing for the first time is Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness. We're going to attempt to do it very quickly after we see the movie. We're seeing the movie on my birthday, the 5th, and if Jason's down, I want to record it that night.
Yeah.
And I think we're actually going to put that specific episode out for free. As kind of like a preview for people to be like, hey, you know, this is what this podcast is that if you subscribe to our Patreon, you can watch.
Yeah, 5 in.
So that's kind of the idea. I don't know why I'm telling you guys this, because
You probably are watching it.
and you're gonna be like, what the fuck, I pay for this. But that's we want, you know, we want to give, you know, a little tease for people that maybe they start hanging out with you guys in the Built Difference and the Creteness areas. So that's kind of the idea. And to patrons out there that are listening to this isn't the only thing we plan on doing for the Patreon. We had a couple busy months there. Tara and I pretty soon are going to do a tour of the house for stuff, and we have some other ideas.
Yeah, I have some ideas on the way. Yeah, it'll be really fun.
So yeah, definitely stick with us. We're going to do Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, and then depending on how that goes, we're either going to do WandaVision next, if we feel like it makes sense, or we're going to get started on Thor, so we're ready for Thor Love and Thunder, which
and also
the first
it'll kind of help with going back to like older movies as well, because it's like we were gonna do newer older, but then it's just like we're having some movies come out pretty back to back, it feels like.
We're right, and we haven't even talked about what we're doing with Moon Knight, which the final episode's almost out of that, so that's another one that we're gonna have to look at pretty quick here, I think.
Cool show.
But yeah. So we got a lot planned. We're gonna keep rolling with this. We like doing this. I've had other ideas about, you know, maybe we do a DC one after this, which sounds awful but also fun.
Yeah, in a way.
Or maybe we throw in the other Marvel movies that aren't part of the MCU, like starting with the Spider-Mens and the X-Men's, and maybe we do that too. So we're thinking about doing a bunch of different stuff. So I hope you guys are enjoying this. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We got a lot of movies to go in the original MCU. So, Jason, do the thing where you say what do you say?
Excelsior.
All right, guys, thanks for watching.
Now fuck off.
All right, Jason, so the post-credit scene. The first one is literally just a scene from Thor Ragnarok, which at the time we did not know.
Yeah.
But in hindsight, seems kind of shitty.
Kind of, yeah.
It's a weird post-credit scene if you don't know that, because the context is kind of like, what? So Loki and Thor are in New York looking for Odin, which made sense after Thor 2,
kind of, yeah.
Kind of, because they show at the end of Thor 2 that Loki's on the throne and not Odin,
Well, they don't show that Loki's there, right? Or
no, they do. Odin is sitting on the throne, and it zooms in on him, and he turns into Loki.
No. I'm talking about in the Doctor Strange.
No. I'm just saying the last time we saw Thor in his own movie, that's what happened. Thor 2.
Yeah, no. You're right, and I'm not arguing that. I'm saying that you don't see Loki in the post-credit scene for this.
Doctor
movie.
Strange says, though, he goes, so once you find Odin, you and Loki will be out of here. And he says yes.
Oh, okay.
They imply that they're looking for Odin, and they're both there. And he does the funny thing where he fills up the beer for him, and he's wearing those disgusting yellow gloves.
Yeah, those gloves are repugnant.
They look like dish gloves. Like Thor showed up and Doctor Strange was in the middle of doing the dishes.
Yeah, those gloves are real bad, dude.
They're terrible. Anyway, that scene sucks. But the other post-credit scene I actually kind of like. Mordo shows up at Jonathan Pangborn's little shop, which is the guy, we didn't even talk about this in the episode, but basically he went to Karmatal, whatever it's called, and he was taught the way to pull magic from another dimension to make it so he could walk again, because he literally could not walk after an injury. That's how Doctor Strange finds out about this place to go there. And Mordo shows up at his shop and takes that power from him because he says there's too many wizards out there, and kind of an evil turn for Mordo here.
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense in my opinion.
I think it did. I don't think it's going to anymore.
Well,
I think this is one of those scenes.
How are you taking the power from him? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, you're just taking his.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
His power to be able to use the power. Like, it doesn't really make sense. It's not like she just gifted it to him, right? I thought the idea was that he is channeling it, right?
I think the idea is that he's personally not channeling it, but the Ancient One came up with a way so he can channel it without
his life
having to
force
do anything.
Or something. Yeah, I could see
and
that.
he wouldn't know how to bring it back if someone took it from him, kind of thing.
Yeah,
that's how I always read it, but you could be right. It could just not make sense. What I was saying is that I don't think they're going in the same direction with this character as they planned on. based on what I've seen from trailers of Multiverse of Madness.
So much time has passed too. He could have had his own redemption arc too. Like he could have been like, what I was doing was fucked up.
Yeah, I took that one guy's power and that was fucked. I felt bad about it, so I stopped. But yeah, I think it's something along those lines where they're either
like a Ronin type deal,
right? Or he had a change of heart or something. Because I don't. But if they would have continued with that arc, I think it would have been pretty cool, and he would have been a pretty interesting villain for Doctor Strange. But I think he's going to be more of a adjacent ally kind of deal.
Anti-hero kind of.
He still doesn't like Strange, but he's gonna help him. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's the vibe I'm getting. But we'll see. Overall, kind of a weak set of post-credit scenes.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
The vibe of the second one is definitely really scary.
Yeah. No, I do like it. I just don't think it's gonna matter anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like when we
like how could they still have the same exact idea? You know what I mean? Like just how media works. There's just no way.
Well, it's like we haven't watched Hulk yet. I don't know when we're gonna watch that movie, but the post-credit scene on that makes fucking zero sense because it was clear they had no idea what they were gonna do exactly.
Yeah.
Like Tony Stark shows up to talk to General Ross about Hulk, but General Ross couldn't catch the Hulk, so why is Tony Stark recruiting people for the Avengers Initiative? He wasn't, you know what I mean? Like none of it makes sense. Like,
yeah.
So I think we're in a lesser way we're dealing with one of those in this one.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Jason, you're not gonna say bye?
Now fuck off. 2.
Fuck off so good. Where's fuck off 2?